All right, welcome to Bucketphoria. This is a basketball podcast presented by Mafia Sports Report and Sports Dynasty. So, in this second round of the NBA playoffs, we already got two games across the board played, and we're gonna start with a. There's two games today. There's a back to back, but there's a potential. I want to say low key elimination because if you're down 3-0, you're done. There's no coming back from that. But what's going on in Phoenix, Alex?
The bench sucks. They have no depth. That's the problem with this team. I'll talk about game one a little bit, but both Durant and Booker played solidly in both those games, but it was the Jamal Murray show, as you remember, dropping 34 points in this one. And just the supporting cast in general just played really well, and KCP hit some timely threes as well.
Yeah, he did.
And Bruce Brown, 14 points off the bench, hence why they got him for. That was a steal that they got him and Uncle Jeff still bowling at the age of 36, 37?
Yeah, he's 37 years old. It's phenomenal. Coming from a heart surgery and.
Right, so you got all that, right? Booker and Durant played great, but Booker had 27 in the first game, but he had to work for those 27 points. Because they didn't make their life easy at all, but here was kind of the biggest issue I had with the Suns in game one. They didn't attempt many threes.
Yeah, they didn't really. And I think watching Booker, watching him often over and over and over, he kind of seemed like a player that doesn't really like to take too many threes. He likes to just play on the drive, play on the midi, shoot those floaters, play while he's moving instead of just stand still or catch and shoot. Like he'll shoot a three if he has to, or if it's open, but he ain't chucking them.
Right. He's not chucking them. The person who shot the most threes in that first game is Chris Paul, and Chris Paul is shooting the most threes in your team. I'm sorry, to me, that's a recipe of disaster.
Yeah, that sounds unacceptable. I would think it should be KD, because he's a fairly efficient player anyway. But this is an overmatched team, man. There's just the worst. Game two was so demoralizing to me in terms of Phoenix because it was more so a game where Denver was supposed to lose, and they just Phoenix found a way, to make mistakes, and then Denver's side, Jokic being the two-time MVP that he is, being the top player that he is, found a way to drag the Nuggets for that win. But it's like if you're playing the Nuggets in their worst possible form, I guess, and you still lose, it's like what hope do you really have?
Yeah, before we continue, shout out to Tommy. He says the Heat are the most dangerous team in the playoffs. In my opinion, they have the depth and one of the best coaches in the playoffs. That's true, and we'll talk about that series later. But
Definitely.
they're looking even without Bud, they actually look surprisingly solid. You could argue she probably should be up to 0.
They kind of look like they reverted to last year. I guess it's a playoff switch.
Right.
I guess it's a playoff switch because Strus doing his thing, Vincent doing his thing, except for Bam, really.
But in game two, Jamal Murray played as bad as he could possibly play, and he does have games like this. No, he is one of those type of players. He is gotten better in that consistency department, but he is still one of those players that if he's bad, he's really bad.
Yeah, what he was 2 for 19 in this game?
3 for 15.
3 for 15. He had a nightmare game. This is just a crazy one, man. I thought Phoenix was gonna take this. It kind of looked like they were gonna take this. It looked like for the most part, as a team, they kind of controlled this game, and Nuggets was hanging on by a thread with Jokic. I mean, he's literally just dragging them.
You know why I think they was gonna lose this game still? Because even though Phoenix was kind of winning for most of this game, they weren't putting them away. They put them away. Durant shot pretty badly in this game, especially from three. Bro went 2 for 12 from three. Chris Paul got hurt, which hasn't really been that good to begin with, but it's significantly better than what you got. Because literally Cameron Payne came in the game and messed everything up. It felt like it was that bad.
Yeah, when Campay subbed in, it looked like they just went down about 10 levels. They look like a completely different basketball team. I mean, in terms of missing wide open jumpers, missing wide open layups, being indecisive in transition. Just, I mean, IQ takes you a long way. Chris Paul, he's a shell of himself, right? He is. But the fact of the matter is where he'll more than likely make the right decision in the half-court offense will, says a lot. And Cam Payne just, I mean, he just put this team dead on the water. Kevin Durant was having his bad one. I mean, we've seen this before, but he was having his bad one. So it kind of felt like in a way where it's book or bust. In a matchup like that, I'm going to take Jokic because he has the easier matchup and he has a more efficient way of scoring anyway. I mean, DeAndre Ayton, he is literally on an island. He cannot guard Nikola Jokic whatsoever.
It's crazy, too, because it's like Phoenix in that fourth quarter went 7 for 25 and only dropped 14 points. And the leading scorer in the fourth quarter for both teams was KCP hitting ridiculously timely threes in this game. It was like Jokic had the damn near 40-point game, but they don't win this game if KCP don't put up the performance that he does on both ends of the floor.
I agree 100%. And Alex, we've seen this before with KCP. This is what a championship player is. This is why you invest in your role players for these moments. For these moments to come through in the fourth quarter to make those big threes. Them acquiring KCP, it already paid off with this game. It's already paid off already. And he's going to continue to do this for this team because that's just the player he is. I mean, he has ice in his veins. He's done this time and time and time again. And he's going to continue to do this. Whereas you got Phoenix who wants to sell their soul for one superstar. Kevin Durant is amazing, but I mean, they need help. I mean, you can't two-man the championship. That's unreasonable. That's not something you should expect ever in like any sport ever. So this is a team that's stacked, that has depth and plays, great basketball. And then you got another team that's trying to, two-man your way and try to superstar your way to a championship. It just doesn't work, man.
And mind you, these both got outscored by Nikola Jokic regardless, despite the best efforts. But they have 4 bench points last game. Phoenix, they have 4 bench points. How does that happen? Like, I understand, and this is my biggest issue when the trade happened. Who's going to come off the bench? And I'm sorry, I'm looking at this bench. While the players are not playing, might be one of your better players that you have. TJ Warren, not the greatest defender, but at least he could create his own shot and score. Same thing with Terrence Ross and Darius Bazley and Landry Shamet getting DNPs as well over players like Damian Lee and Cameron Payne. And I don't know why. Here's another thing, too. Why did Torrey Craig get a minute reduction after he played pretty well in the first round, too? Why is Josh Okogie starting over him?
Yeah, he was the unsung hero of that Clippers series. He made them pay plenty of times in that series. And this is at a point where I think defense needs to not be a thought here. You need to just try to overwhelm this team with firepower as best as you can. And when you have TJ Warren and Terrence Ross, these are players who you can give the ball and they could score. So you got to gamble it and you got to take your chances and use these players. These are players that could get you 50. They can go from 5 or 8, but they could also go from 25 to 30. So I say, why not play them?
Yeah, I think about like this, you're the only way they're gonna win games is if Booker and Durant, not just one or the other, both of them drop 35, 40 plus points on a consistent basis. Like, as great of scorers that they are, it's completely unreasonable to ask them to do that every single time and time again. They need help to score the ball, and these players have to play. Damian Lee is a shooter that low-key can't shoot. He has some big threes, but that's what he is. Cameron Payne at this point is playing himself out the league. He's playing like the tank master again back in Chicago. Okay, see, it's been that bad for him. And Bismack Biyombo too small. He can't guard Jokic either. Mind you, he looked better than Ayton did guarding him, but he still can't guard him. Though. That's the problem.
It's the size. If Biyombo was Ayton size, he would have a better chance. But when you're like a 6'9", what are you gonna do against somebody like Jokic? I appreciate his effort though. I wish Ayton was as inspired as he was. But, I mean, there should be no reason why Jokic is in single coverage, like, ever, for as long as the series goes. There's just literally not a soul in that team that can stop him. He does what he wants when he wants to, right? You got to double him. You got to play. I don't know why Payne would be playing and Shamit would Shamit. I don't think highly of him, but I would say that he is a better player than Cameron Payne. Right?
At this point, yeah.
Right, at this point. And Booker, he's having a pretty good postseason too. I kind of feel like this is his best postseason so far.
He's just really good
so far. But it's like, dude, like 35 to 40, 45, like that's unreasonable. Like for anybody, not just Book, not just KD, for anybody. You shouldn't really be expecting a player to drop like 35 to 40 every single night. And it's a necessity for you to have a chance to win. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and I want to pose this question too. About to say, Shame's not hurt, right? He just hasn't been playing, correct?
Yeah, from what I've recently seen, he is not hurt. He's just not playing. But I think Monty Williams is not coaching well this series again because, again, I'm saying this. Why is Jokic in single coverage? Why?
I don't know.
Yes, he's an amazing playmaker. He's one of the best we've ever seen, right? But his matchup is so overwhelming. It's so much of a mismatch that it's worth just doubling and living with whatever anyone else is going to give you. Because what Jamal Murray did, Michael Porter Jr. could do that as well. He can get cold as well. He can have nights where he's missing shots. He can also have nights where he doesn't miss either.
Plus, he did. That game, he was garbage.
Right. But I think it's worth just doubling him, man. It's worth just doubling. You got to get the ball out of Jokic's hands because if you don't, he's just going to destroy this team. He's going to put up the same numbers every single game.
This is why this is probably the worst possible match they could have possibly had because it's like they can't just brute force their way to the round. Even though if Kawhi and PG was healthy, they probably would have lost that series too.
I'm definitely in that camp where they would have lost.
Like this is not a good team. And James Jones, you got work to do this offseason because this is too thin of a roster. You have to construct a decent bench, and you got to do something with JJ. It just has to happen at this point. He doesn't belong here anymore. Maybe he'll look better in like another team, but here it just doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't.
I just think for Ayton's case, it's just where he's at now. The expectations that he has, he isn't capable of. Now, okay, that's fine. If he was in a more stacked team, his production would be more meaningful. But since he's the number 3 in this team, and he's essentially asked to dominate, it's looking like he's horrible, right? Overall, he ain't a horrible player. Just off the expectations, it makes him so frustrating. The fact that he can't dominate, the fact that he can't take this challenge with Jokic and go head-to-head with him. So I'm sure they regret the signing. They should have just traded him, man.
No, I know exactly why they signed him. It was because who else was going to play center? I understood why they did it. It's just you're not getting the benefits of what he should be bringing. Like again, that possession where Jokic got like 4 offensive rebounds and he just standing in a silent while Durant trying to get the rebound. That has been his whole career.
Yeah, he just has no fight. He has no fight. He has no fire in his eyes. And you're not going to win a championship like that with players like that. You're just not. I mean, Kevin Durant's a toothpick and he's out there fighting for boards, man. But this series is over, man. I mean, we both knew this coming in. We said 6. It might be 5. So.
Hell, it might be 4.
It might be. Yeah, it might be 4. It might be 4. But
I'm not gonna count them out yet, but I am so close. Like, again, if they lose today's a wrap. They're not winning.
Yeah, it's statistically not gonna happen. Yeah, but I think they live to fight another day, and I think after tonight it will be 2-1. They win game 3, and we see what happens in game 4.
Right, that's about where I'm at as well.
Yeah.
All right, so next series to talk about. Let's go out east real quick. Let's talk about Miami and New York.
Alrighty. So this series, game one was fascinating. It was such a fascinating game. I mean, it was kind of a game where what you imagine it would be with a Miami versus New York team. I'm looking at Miami differently now. I'm looking at them the way I looked at them last year because this like transformation, this I guess switch of the flip, you can say, where it kind of feel like they reverted back to last year's team, where you could trust these role players, where they could get stops, where they play a dominant zone defense, and Kyle Lowry is making big plays. So I'm not currently looking at them as what they were throughout this entire season because obviously the switch was flipped. I mean, you got Caleb Martin. He's making big plays. You got Gabe Vincent. I mean, it looks like at times where he could just take care of the offense himself and they will be fine at times. I'm watching game 2, and my takeaway from game 2 is I think Miami is the better team. And I think the Knicks should be very concerned. I feel like this was a win where you're not happy. Obviously, you're happy to tie the series because no one wants to be down 2-0, obviously. But it's a win where I feel like they're worried. They should be worried.
Yeah, because struggling against the Heat without Jimmy Butler kind of an issue, to be honest. And it's not like Bam Adebayo had this outlandishly great game. No, Gabe Vincent was giving you problems. Like, Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin was both giving you problems in this game. And Caleb Martin, that first game, too, had a nice chase down block that pretty much sealed New York's fate and got them the win. And thank goodness for Josh Hart for hitting like 2 clutch threes in that game. But at the end of the day, it's like, you gotta figure something out. And Mitchell Robinson can't play. It's bad. He's too slow to deal with him because they're literally just speeding past him and getting good looks. So his skill set isn't really useful here. Now, when iHeart is in the game, it looks 10 times better.
Yeah, with Hartenstein in, they look 10 times better. And I think this is another series. Another reason why I'm so confident in Miami, 2 games in, is I can tell up to this point, it's become a battle between Coach Spo and Coach Thibodeau. And you could kind of see the gap between the two. I mean, Coach Spo is significantly better. He ran the zone, and he completely locked the Knicks offense. In game 2, I mean, they were fighting for dear life to get points in this game. And attacking Mitchell Robinson's speed to the point where he seems unplayable is a problem because he provided so much for this team. He's kind of the reason why they beat Cleveland. So to take him out, it'll be interesting to see how Tom Thibodeau is going to adjust to this because he can't play. I mean, if he continues to get used in high minutes, if he continues to get used in clutch situations, they're going to lose the series because, I mean, if Caleb Martin and Gabe Vincent's doing this, could you imagine what Jimmy Butler's going to do after he fully knows what the blueprint is against this player, especially in transition? The Knicks have a huge problem here.
It's interesting too because it's like for starters, is Jericho Sims hurt?
I don't know if he's hurt or he's played out the rotation, but he's a guy you could use. I believe.
And mind you, and Raul can tell you, I'm like not a fan of Jericho Sims at all. I don't like his game at all. No, he's done for the year. Okay,
he's off for the year. Okay,
he's done for the year. Okay, but I was gonna say like they need somebody that can move, or they just might need to run small run at the 5. You might have to start looking into that because at the end of the day, Julius Randle is one of the better rebounders in the league, and I think he's a better rebounder than Bam Adebayo. Would you agree with that?
I agree 100% with that.
And I think you can get away with, especially since how timid Bam offensively is, that I think you can get away with running Randle at the 5. I think you could seriously get away with it.
I think you can. I think you can. The problem could be that there could be a potential offensive sighting of Bam though, because since they're about the same size, Bam doesn't have anyone towering over him. So I would see more like driving layups from Bam. I would see more aggression. But I think it's still worth it. I would run Randle at 5.
You gotta bite that bullet because I'm sorry, but I feel like, especially with how well Miami is shooting in like this playoffs as a whole, you might rather that, because if you're the Duncan Robinson been hitting some nice threes, Kyle Lowry has been looking good this playoffs for the most part, and just the Wizards in general just have been having a really, really good playoff run, hence why they're still here right now. But like, they need to do something and bite that bullet, because I understand Mitchell Robinson, his size can be imposing, but if you're not there to use the size because they're getting blown by you, it's literally obsolete at that point.
I agree 100%. I think they got to bite that bullet as well. That adjustment needs to be made, and I think that will be the difference between if they come out this series or not. I think if Thibodeau doesn't make this adjustment, if he doesn't try Randle at the 5, I don't think they're going to advance.
I don't think so either, and that's the problem with Thibodeau too. I like Tibbs, but the problem is he is very, very stubborn, and I think it's smacking him in the face, but he will literally just say, "So what?" And he would, and continue to score it, and that will literally be their detriment.
Yeah, I thought he almost did it in game 2. I thought in that fourth quarter, I thought Hartenstein should have stood in. I actually felt concerned for them when Mitchell Robinson came back. They came out with the win at the end of the day, but I mean, this is something you can't rely on. So ultimately, I think Miami's going to come out of here. I think they're going to come out in 6.
I'm going to stick with the Knicks to win this series in 6, but it's not looking the greatest. I'll say that much. I feel like it depends on what condition Jimmy Butler is in when he comes back.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more interesting back when it was 0-0, back when the series started. I think I was with you with Knicks, and I kind of felt like they should win this. Maybe the heroics of Jimmy Butler will be the reason they won, but now I'm thinking about this so differently. Now I'm thinking about Miami as a team. So it's become a very interesting series now.
Right. Okay, moving on to the other East series. Yes, we're going to say the best for last between LeBron and Steph Curry. We're going to say that for last. This series, I feel like there's not much to say between Philly and Boston, because here's the reason why. You got the first game with Joel Embiid out, and James Harden turned back the clock to regular season Rockets James Harden when he dropped 45 points. And they got the game with Joel Embiid. Congratulations to his MVP, by the way. You got that, and Boston beat by 40. So it's like it's two completely different situations that I can't go off of yet.
The only thing that I've seen that looks normal is that James Harden was abysmal in this game.
He was completely awful, but it's fine though, because at the end of the day, even with Embiid out, you got the game that you needed.
You did. Took a game
at Boston. Harden gave you a performance, and Paul Reed playing for him didn't look terrible. He looked all right.
So, this is what I'm gonna say here. I think this series is gonna get interesting. I don't think Boston's gonna run away with this, and there's a couple of reasons why. Al Horford is really struggling from the perimeter. He really doesn't seem to be making any threes. I think recently he was like 1 for 6 or whatever. But Paul Reed
1 for 4, 1.
Yeah. Paul Reed, I like that you mentioned Paul Reed. They seem to have trouble dealing with him.
They seem to have 8 from 3. So far he's 2 for 12. Sorry, I just wanted to confirm it. Continue.
So he's 2 for 12 in this series from 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So he seems to be struggling here, and these are open looks. These are the looks that he gets every game, and he's just not knocking them down. So if this continues throughout the series, this could be a problem, as well as Paul Reed. He seems to be overwhelming them. So if what was Harden like 1 for 12?
I think he was like 2 for 12. I think.
Okay.
He was 2 for 14. Okay.
Right. So if he doesn't do that again, right? If he doesn't do that again, these games could be more interesting. And Tatum still seems to just be like struggling. Like he doesn't really have an offensive rhythm just in the playoffs in general. It kind of seems like their best player right now is Jaylen Brown and Brogdon.
Yeah, stupid turnover aside from that game one. That was one of the stupidest turnovers I've seen in my life. But like Tatum has been wide inconsistent this whole entire playoff run. Even against Atlanta, he had his games where he just looked completely awful. And personally, I'll be honest with you, I think Boston wins the next 3 games. I still think they win in 5.
You still think they win in 5?
Yes, but again, if now I'm more open to the idea of this series going 6 or 7 because of the fact that this Celtics team, I don't know what it is this season. This Celtics team just doesn't have it. I know they haven't been as good at defense this year as it was last year, because last year they were historically great after like a certain date. But this team just doesn't have it to me.
Yeah, there's something wrong with this team. There's something wrong with this team, and I'll tell you what. If this team was playing Miami or New York, I think they'd be down 2-0 right now. And I don't know. I mean, I'm really concerned about Al Horford. Because him making threes, like, it's a big part of what makes them who they are.
Yeah,
and if he can't make these shots, he's not going to get you a lot of rebounds to begin with. If he can't make these shots, I mean, what is he really doing here? It's very difficult. It's very difficult to implement him here, as well as Tatum struggling. So where I'm at right now, I'm seeing 6 with Boston, but I'm like, I have an itch that it might go 7 just because of the way they've been playing so far. And this was Joel's first game back. Hopefully, I think as the games go by, he'll be a lot better. Even though he played pretty decent in that game, it was just really just like James Harden was just a nightmare in game 2.
I mean, Embiid only got 3 rebounds in that game. That doesn't help either.
Right. Well, he can't jump.
He had 5 blocks though.
Yeah. He can't jump, so can't really jump too much. But it's gonna be interesting to see. I think Paul Reed is gonna continue to give them problems. I could see one more good James Harden game, and I know there's a good Tyrese Maxey game as well.
He played solid that first game too.
Right. So I'm in Boston in 6 and a close 6, but I'm feeling an itch to call a 7 here.
Yeah, because you have no reason losing that first game. I don't care how great James Harden played, which again, phenomenal performance by him. Don't get me wrong, that was a sight to see. But at the end of the day, there is no reason why they should lose that game. That was utterly embarrassing that you lost to the 76ers. They didn't have the MVP.
That's a problem. But this is the second game this playoffs where this team lost a game like that. They lost game 5 at home, right? Both games at home to Atlanta with no DeJounte Murray.
Yeah. Similar way they lost too. Trae Young hit a dagger from far. That was
right between Jaylen Brown's eyes.
Yeah. So like, they're not gonna lose the series. Like, I refuse to believe that they lose the series. But again, it's concerning. Like, they should make the finals with this type of road, but with everything the way it's shaping up, I will not be surprised if they play New York or Miami in the East Conference Finals and they lose. That wouldn't surprise me at this point, because they look better right now.
Yeah, where I'm at right now, I just think that this series is going to be harder than it should be. Is where I'm at right now.
Right.
It's going to be harder than it should be. And that's a problem because both those teams, and especially on Miami, let's say like Jimmy Butler's back and they come out and he's 100% healthy, he will smell blood on this Celtics team. He will smell blood on this team.
Oh, he won his get back. What?
Yeah. So
what his get back for last year?
Definitely. So this Boston team, it's concerning. It's concerning. If you're a Boston fan, I would be very concerned about this basketball team.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like this, they got to figure something out because there's something about this team right now that is just not. It's not clicking. It's not clicking with them right now.
Yep.
last but certainly not least, the main event of the second round, Lakers and Warriors tied 1-1. Was like in like fear for like the last 2 minutes of that first game because we couldn't score, and then Steph Curry was being Steph Curry and all that. But thankfully Jordan Poole was finding Jordan Poole and they lost.
Yeah, Jordan Poole and big bucket from D'Lo.
Right.
Big bucket from D'Lo down there up near the paint. This series is a movie, man. And it's gonna continue to be. There's just, I mean, we're blessed to see this matchup between probably the best two players of this generation. Like, it is ridiculous to see, and gives me I had a couple heart attacks already from game one, but I like that. I mean, game one really showed what we kind of like in terms of the X and O's. What we're gonna see. AD should have his way in the rebound battle in terms of scoring inside. Bron played a very, very playmaker-ish, kind of magic-ish kind of style. Game one, Bron against Warriors, he always does that.
Even though he shot like actually guard from going after like 24, something like that.
Right. It was impressive to see Austin Reeves, not be afraid of the moment and able to play against his team. But it's funny, Looney still finds a way to be Looney, man. Like,
yeah,
he just can't be denied. He just can't be denied. He's just one of the greatest rebounders in like the last like 5 to 10 years. Like, I just think that he's just one of the best rebounders in the league. Like, he's probably like top 5 rebounders in the league. He's just great. He's just truly great.
Regular season numbers won't tell you that.
It won't. But he's just one of those players where when it's time for the playoffs, he's gonna play to his best ability. And this is who he truly is. He's just gonna continue to do this no matter who's down there in that paint. And Jordan Poole pretty much sold them in this game. But then in game 2, it was good adjustments, man. This series is adjustments. That's all it is, bro.
Yeah, because since Kevin Looney was under the weather, and mind you, even while being sick, he had 6 points, felt like more. But and had 8 rebounds in 11 minutes. So he did his damage, but Steve Kerr had the bright idea, right, to say, you know what? Let's just run him with shooters. Let's completely spread the floor out. Let's try to make Anthony Davis defense not as damaging as it will be. Let's just shoot threes. And JaMychal Green got 15 points. He hit his wild threes. It was a play game for sure. Hit 8 threes, and Steph Curry really just played point guard in this game. Still has 20 points, but had 12 assists to go along with it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That was the end. What I was gonna say before I hang up too is like Jordan Poole, not Jordan Poole with this team because it's kind of been this way as a whole. They gotta figure out a way to stop doing the most stupidest fouls known to man because it's a little ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, I mean that's like who they are, but it is really bad. They're just really bad at just drawing fouls, and I mean they're really bad at fouling people. And even Draymond said it in his podcast. He's like, "This is just us just fouling them. We're just not playing well enough, and we keep fouling them." For example, they keep falling for D'Lo's drive and forcing the free throws. They keep falling for it on D'Angelo Russell over and over and over and over and over again. Now with adjustments, I like that Steve Kerr made Curry handle the ball more instead of playing off the ball. Because in this series, I think Vanderbilt is more efficient on Curry when he's off the ball instead of him when he's handling the ball. So I like that Kerr made him handle the ball more. I mean, I wouldn't say I like it. I like that. I mean, it's a good adjustment by Kerr because I don't like it because that's why they won. But,
right.
But it was a very good adjustment as well as I knew Clay would be the problem in the series because he's the one like alarming mismatch in this series. It was where we're kind of gotta pray, and it just seems like our guys. I mean, Austin Reeves is doing what he can, but I wonder if Ham is tiring him out in his legs.
Okay. I get why you're saying that because again, we play against Golden State. You literally have to run around the court every single time. They don't stay still. It's constant motion over and over and over again. And he had a bad one. He had a bad one in his second game for sure, going 50-for-11. You know, having to guard Clay and all that. But at the end of the day, you got to find a way to beat him, and you really have to play this every single time. It's tough. Yes, you got to figure it out.
Right. Because the reason why I say this is because I feel like Austin Reeves haven't had a bad game in like 5 months, bro. Like, I know that's probably over-exaggeration, but he's just that consistent. You feel me? Like, he's just that consistent. And especially when he's shooting open threes, I feel like the dude just doesn't miss, right? I feel like he just never misses. And when I was watching him miss these shots, I'm like, oh, in a way, it's like, oh, he misses? He actually misses. And I wonder, because Bane is one thing, but Clay is a whole nother animal. I mean, like you said, he doesn't stop moving. He is running all over the court 24/7. So it will be interesting to see as the longer as the series goes. I wonder if his legs are gonna get fatigued. If that is the case, Ham needs to make another adjustment because we need Reeves to make shots. If the Lakers does not have Reeves making shots, I do not think they win the series.
So I have an idea to oppose. Would you start Shooter over Austin Reeves?
I would do that because Shooter could play on chasing as well. He's pretty decent at that, but that's a guy where I would have him tired out compared to Reeves because the Lakers always had this reliability where if he's open, he's making a three, as well as him handling the ball. He has a lot of responsibilities in this team in terms of moving in the pick and roll and making open shots. If they can't utilize him in that, I don't think they're not at their best as a team.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of agree with that because I feel like for this series, especially, you really got to worry more about the defensive side of the ball than offensively. Andy Davis had a bad game, but I think everybody saw that coming from a mile away.
Yeah,
and he'll be fine in game 3. But you got to find a way to not to limit the amount of open threes they get because that's looking like that's how they're gonna find a way to score the ball. Hell, they took 53s the first game,
and it's because they have to, right? They have to. They're not gonna go inside and destroy the Lakers. I don't think anyone can do that.
No,
it's just too much rim protection down there. So it's more like they have to do it. And with offense, I feel like we got LeBron and AD, and we got the Rui, who he's playing good, man. I feel like we'll find a way, but I feel like the focal point needs to be on defense here. But don't tire out Reeves. They need him.
No, they do need him to. They do need protection. They need everybody that plays to play well in this series, or else it's gonna be a long series if he's not playing the way he's supposed to.
And at the end of the day, they did what they had to. This is mission accomplished. We won one of the toughest, probably the toughest building in the whole league, and we took one. Now we got them in our house. We got to defend home court. That's all we got to do.
They are a terrible road team regular season wise, but they did take 2 off Sacramento.
No, yeah. I don't care about their road record in the playoffs. They're the Golden State Warriors. But what I'm saying is we took one at Golden State, which no matter what version of Golden State, that is close to impossible to do. It's just so difficult. Now, the Lakers it's the Lakers' turn to defend home court. Can they? And what I would say here is, again, just win one. Because I think this is going to go 7, bro. Like, I just think it is. So I'm seeing them just win one, and then Golden State wins the other. And then they just keep it. I don't think nobody wins 2 in a row here. I don't think so.
I think the Lakers kind of beat the hell out of them in game 3. That's my guess. that the Lakers overwhelm the next game. Game 4 is going to be the game to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Game 4 might be the most important game of this series, definitely.
Cause you already know they're gonna put all the stops to get the win, especially if they lose tomorrow. Golden State. So that's gonna be the game where it's like, okay, you really got tighten up and about to get this win and be up 3. Because if you're 3-1, you're gonna win the series. I don't think anybody better no 3-1 in the here. So
yeah, no. If either team here goes up 3-1, they're winning.
Right.
Yeah, both of these teams are not blowing up. It's not happening. I can't see it. I definitely can't see it. But that's why I knew, I knew they were gonna win game 2 because I felt like game 2 for Golden State was kind of like a game 7 for them.
Right.
Because losing both home games in the series is insane. Like that's just insane. Like I don't think they would have came back from that.
Yeah, that rarely happens when the home team loses first 2 games and still win. The only time I can think of that happens when the Clippers play the Mavericks like a few years ago.
Right, but it's so rare and it's so difficult. And from what I've seen in this Lakers team, it's gonna be hard to win in the crypt. It's gonna be very hard to win down there. So if they would have lost 2 in Golden State, I don't know if down 2-0 if they win both games in LA.
Yeah, boss. Yeah, they got it. Game 4 is gonna be the game that, and I feel it's gonna be kind of similar to that Grizzlies game last round, and then game 4.
I'll tell you what, game 4 is the biggest game, no matter who wins on tomorrow. Lakers win tomorrow. Golden State wins tomorrow. Game 4 is still the game, no matter what.
Right, exactly, no matter what.
Yeah.
But that'll be all.
Yeah.
Be sure to subscribe to Sports Dynasty and the Mafia Sports Report. Hope you're enjoying this playoffs. And like always, we'll be here next week. And we'll see ya.